Garay, and I have the pleasure of hosting tonight. And we're going to talk about several things and have a couple of presenters. First, I just want to introduce the Somos DLI group. Welcome. We're excited to have you. And I am Allison Urungaray. As I mentioned, I'm technically the Somos DLI secretary. We have Ashley Peak, who's the Somos DLI president. Ashley, if you want to say hi.
Hi, everyone.
I'll go back to those logistics in a minute. We have, I'm not sure if Jackie made it yet, but we have Jackie Murillo is our vice president of Somos DLI. And we have a new board member who I'll introduce herself real quick, who is Bianca Corrales. Bianca, if you don't mind just introducing yourself really quick and tell us where you have which schools you have kids at and things like that, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Bianca Corrales. You've probably seen me on here before. I have two kids at Jefferson Elementary. Both are DLI. I have a 5th grader and a 6th grader. It's been kind of a hectic week. My son just came back from science camp today, so but my kids have been in the program for a good while. I serve on many hats. I'm on our PTA. I actually serve on a PTA at the Sierra Middle School, and I actually serve on the Board of Trustees for the library for the city of Riverside. But yeah, I'm actually very happy to join this group because I have a big passion for the DLI program and what it's done for my kids, and all of the wonderful teachers that they've had throughout the years and what they've done for the program. So I'm really excited to actually join this group. I've been following it since it started, and so I'm amongst a lot of great leaders here. So I hope to be a great asset to the team. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. We're excited to have you. And Bianca's handling communications and will help generally with other things. And as I said, she's also presenting tonight. So we also have our USD representatives, Esther Garcia, the coordinator for DLI. There's Esther, and Senora Thetford, who is the teacher on assignment over DLI.
Yes, good evening. Welcome, everyone.
All right, and let me just go back to a few logistics. Please keep your mic on mute. And if you ask a question and we call on you, you're free to unmute your mic at that point. Use the chat box for questions or comments. And we have people monitoring the chat for those things. And as I mentioned, the meeting is now being recorded. If you need interpretation, you can push the globe at the bottom of your Zoom for interpretation. We've got a Spanish translator there ready. All right, our agenda today is Esther Garcia is going to talk to us about the elementary and middle school transitions going in when the students go from elementary school to 6th grade and to 7th and 8th grade, and then when they leave middle school and go to high school. And I am our poly representative, so happy to answer questions if anyone has it. At that point, I have 2 kids that are juniors, so we've gone most of the way through that transition with our 2 oldest. And then Bianca Corrales is going to go through accessing Clever for K through 12 for us and helping you, making it easy to access your child's Google Classroom and those resources. And then we'll just go through some upcoming events and other things that we have going on for Somos. We have an exciting event here in a couple of weeks, so I want to make sure we plug that. Okay, I think Esther, I can turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and Happy New Year to everyone. I hope your new year started strong and happy. Somos means we are in Spanish. It's somos, just somos, and in English is we are. And these are our goals and our objectives. I will give everybody about a minute to read them. Okay, and tonight I'm going to discuss the 6th and 8th grade transitions. We did make a change. I did notify all of our parents of 6th grade students and parents of 8th grade students. We did send you a notice of the changes, And we are really happy because actually we are making it a lot easier for you, for the parents. And we're also making it a lot more effective and efficient for our schools, especially our middle schools. And I will explain to you right now why. So the change in practice is that the intent to continue in DLI is no longer available, and we will no longer make it available each year. It will now be the opt-out form. Each year, we have a very a low number of students who opt out of DLI. So instead of collecting over 250 names on our intent to continue, we are now only collecting the names of those students who will be leaving our program. 6th and 8th grade transitions. These are the two grades that make transitions. 6th grade transitions onto 7th grade, and 8th grade transitions onto 9th grade. The intent to continue in DLI, as I mentioned, will no longer be available for 6th or for, I should say 8th grade into 9th grade, 6th grade to 7th grade, and 8th grade into 9th grade. Parents will no longer complete this form. So this is really important. I am still getting some emails from parents who are very worried that they haven't completed this form. And I hope some of you are here with us tonight so that you know that you are not to complete this form anymore. We are really making it a lot easier for you. 6th grade and 8th grade transitions, students will automatically roll over to the new grade and school. This part will be a lot easier for you parents. You don't have to stress out. You don't have to worry about completing this form, about meeting a deadline to complete this form. You can now rest assured that if you do not complete the opt-out form, your child will automatically roll over into 7th grade and into 9th grade. We've already identified all of our 6th grade students and all of our 8th grade students. We've identified their school of residence or their home school and the school that they will be moving on to. I also have received several emails from parents who are interested in transfers, and we will be looking at those very carefully. Students will be assigned to the school of their pathway. We do have pathways in DLI. I have spoken about our pathways, and I do make sure that we stress the importance of our pathways during our recruitment. Our pathways are very important so that we can maintain the attendance that we need at each cluster. Transfer to your DLI school. This is another change that we are making. Since we no longer have the intent form, you will no longer need to complete a transfer form unless you are out of district and you do not have a district of choice transfer. I will talk about that too. So school of residence transfer is not needed if the DLI school that your child is transitioning into is your school of residence. That school belongs to you, to your neighborhood. You do not need a transfer at all. If this is not your school of residence, one of our DLI schools is not your school of residence, you do need a transfer. However, we will complete that transfer for you. We will submit the names of your student and to the Pupil Services, and I will request that transfer for you, for your child. However, if your child belongs to a district that is outside of Riverside Unified School District, like Alvord, Corona, Jurupa, Norco, Moreno Valley, we do have many students from those districts. You can complete, or you should have already completed, the district of choice. I am encouraging all parents who have students outside of our district to complete the district of choice, because that is a transfer that you complete only once, just once, and that transfer will be good for the duration of your student. As long as they stay in RUSD, you will not need another transfer. If you complete the inner or intra transfers, then you do need to complete that each year. So parents, take advantage of the district of choice transfer. We will request all transfers, as I mentioned, for all of our students who are district of choice, of course, and all of our students who belong to RUSD. So parents, no need to stress about completing your transfers anymore. I will do that for you. Parent transfer request to non-DLI pathways. This one is a little bit more challenging, I have to say, because we do have to take into consideration the enrollment at each of our DLI pathways. We do need to make sure that students who are in certain pathways move on to their DLI middle school and their DLI high school. However, we do understand hardships that parents may have, and we do understand that parents move within our own district. So if you are currently, let's say, at Fremont or Longfellow, especially Longfellow, if you're at Longfellow, your child is in DLI there, but you've moved to the Jefferson Mountain View area, it's going to be very difficult for you to take your child every single morning to University Heights when they transition to 7th grade. So if you are requesting a transfer to Sierra Middle School, we will take that into consideration and seriously consider giving you and your child a transfer so that you don't have that hardship of having to drive every single day to University Heights. Because to be honest, the neighborhoods in the Jefferson Mountain View area are pretty far from uni. You would have to literally get on the freeway or go through a lot of stop signs to get to that school. So those are the types of considerations that we are looking at very, very carefully. If this is not your school of residence, and you are requesting a transfer, this is going to be a little bit more challenging because these are the transfers that we really do not provide, given that this is not your school of residence. You did attend a school that will lead into the pathway for Gage, Sierra, and now uni. We are so excited that uni is opening up next school year. And so we really strongly prefer that your child stays in the pathway that they belong to. We must remind all of the parents that when they accept a DLI elementary school, they are accepting it for K-6. Then they are also accepting the middle school and they are accepting the high school in that pathway. So transfers to the school that you're requesting, they're really not as easily available unless you can show us that it is a true hardship for you or that it is now your school of residence and there's just going to be no way that you can take your child to that school. Most transfers, like I mentioned, will not be possible. So please, parents, in advance, I do apologize. But if we do not grant you that transfer, it's not that we are being hard or we don't want to give you that transfer, is that we really are trying to keep our DLI pathways as they are, and we're trying to honor the commitments that you made when you accepted our DLI program in the elementary years. If you need to contact me, please email me. I have received emails, not too many, thank goodness, but I have received emails from parents who are interested in those transfers. And we do have a couple of parents who did notify me that they moved. They sent their new address, and we have verified that the school they are requesting as a transfer, it's truly their school of residence. By law, I cannot deny you to attend your school of residence. You need to know that if this is your school of residence, this is the school that you can legally just go in there and enroll and register your child. So school of residence is very, very important. So at this point, I will take any questions. And I really hope that our change is making your stress levels a little bit lesser. And you know, you don't have that hardship of remembering when to complete the intent form. Any questions?
I see one
change.
There's one in the chat. Well, first of all, there's a question, what's your email? So we can put that in the chat, I think, so everyone can have it easily. Yes. I'll do that in a second. And then where can I get information on the pathway? So is there a place that it's posted, you know, Washington Gage Poly? Is that somewhere on the website?
It is it's not on the website. They changed their websites and many of the items and tools that we had there were deleted, but I definitely can add it to the website tonight. And then when Bianca starts presenting, I will make sure that I will link our pathways there too.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think for those of us who've been around a while, we kind of know, but I guess if you're new, maybe it's not really clear what the pathway is. So
Right.
that would be great.
Yes, I will link the
Okay.
pathways to the chat box.
Okay. There's a question in Spanish, and I'm not a great translator, but I think it says, can students participate in STEM? Someone else who speaks Spanish can correct me if that's not a good translation of the question.
Yeah,
That's
the
okay.
translator can, yeah, the interpreter can actually read the question, or Mrs. Thetford, if she doesn't mind, read the question and then tell me what it is in English.
Yes, la pregunta es, ¿nuestros estudiantes pueden participar en STEM? Can our
Yes.
students participate in STEM?
Yes, our students can participate in STEM, but please know that STEM is also a program where parents have to apply and they have to be accepted, just like in DLI. They do have a lottery system also, just like DLI. And if you are accepting and attend STEM, you will be required to leave DLI because your child cannot attend 2 schools at the same time.
All right. There's another question in Spanish. Señora Thetford, if you don't mind reading that next.
I could get it for you. Oh, you got it, Patricia.
Okay, great. Buenas tardes. ¿La Uni Middle School sí es seguro que tenga el programa DLI?
Yes, it is. It is for sure. We've already met with the principal. Mrs. Thetford and I met with the principal already to kind of start guiding her on what she will need to do to open up DLI next school year. It is for sure. And we are setting up some dates to help her get the program going so that everything is ready for DLI in August. So yes, we are working with Uni, and it is for sure that it will open in August.
Okay. We have a question about someone moving out of the city to San Jacinto. I don't think the district provides this, but she asked if we can send information about which schools have DLI. I think parents usually research this themselves if they're going to a new district. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I am very sorry. I cannot help you with, especially with San Jacinto. I'm not familiar with that district at all. And every district is very different. So parents, you do have to go into the San Jacinto website and do a little bit of research.
I do know families who've transferred or moved to other schools out of state, so it is possible, but they've got to have a DLI program. Any other questions about the process or the change? Okay, I think for now, we're good.
If no more questions, thank you so much for listening to me. And I really, really hope that the new process will make it a lot easier for you. I know it is making it a lot easier for our schools, especially our middle schools, because this way we are sending them the list next week already, and they can now create their master schedule, which they usually have a hard time creating because the lists are usually not ready until the spring. So thank you so much. And I sincerely hope that this is a much easier practice for you, the parents.
All right, thank you. So Bianca is going to walk through the Clever and Google Chrome tutorial. I think the idea behind this was, as DLI parents, we often try to keep a little closer track of what our students are doing at school, and sometimes they need a little extra help. So Bianca, you can go ahead with that.
Hi, everyone. Okay, it's my first presentation, so bear with me. I was originally just going to do Clever and Google, but then I realized somebody might not have a Gmail. And
so would you like me to stop presenting so you can present?
Yes, please.
Bianca, okay, I will stop right now. Okay, it's all yours.
Perfect. Okay, so first I'm actually going to go to the RUSD website. I usually just put RUSD, and it usually takes me here, Riverside Unified School District. I'm going to go to their home page. Bear with me while it loads. Okay, and right here the tabs are parents. So you see the dual immersion has a lot of information on there about the dual immersion program, but there's also the family technology resources. So I figured if you don't have a Gmail account, you might need one, because where I was going to start was kind of be in the middle. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't have to start in the middle. Right here it says Gmail Chromebook login. You're going to click on that really quick. I'm just going to show you how to get through the RUSD page so that you can find out how to create a Gmail account. So you can look at this during your own time. It's a quick tutorial if you do not have a Gmail account. And then I'm going to kind of jump into the ones that already have a Gmail Google account, because that's most of my presentation. But it has a quick video, and it'll show you if you don't have a Google account. And this will help you create your own Gmail account. It also has a lot of other technology resources. It has the Clever portal on here. It also actually has a tutorial in Spanish. So I'll just click on it really quick so you guys can see that. They have tutorials on everything that is on your child's Chromebook. So have videos logged into Clever if you've never logged into Clever. It also has all the apps that your children use, that their teachers use in the classroom, and it'll help you navigate through all of those as well. But I wanted to show you how you can add your child's RUSD email so that you can actually go straight into their Google Classroom and check on their homework, assignments, all that. So I'm going to get out of this technology page, but I wanted to show you that it's easily accessible on the RUSD website. So to start one and all the basic tutorials of all the apps if you want to get more familiar. But I'm going to jump into Clever. Actually, I'm going to go into my Gmail account, actually. And so this is my Gmail account. Okay. Go to my inbox. So up here you see where it has the letter, that's my Google account. And this is called the Google Waffle. That's where you have a lot of Google apps like your Gmail. You can do a Google Meet, YouTube, all that. So that's called the Waffle. So if you ever hear your kids say waffle, that's literally what they teach them in class to call it. I never called it that until my daughter called it that. I'm like, what are you talking about? But that's the Google Waffle. If you ever hear your kids mention it, that's it right there. It's right next to your letter. If you press this, it's actually going to go, and it's going to, if you click on it, it will show you the other accounts. Hold on. There you go. So I have several accounts. And on the bottom, if you scroll, it says add another account. So I already have my kids account, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to add an account for your child if you needed to. It says add an account. And then you're gonna, this is if you already have one, okay, but this is you creating one for your child or to link their account to yours. So you create account, you're gonna add their Riverside Unified School District email here, but I'm just gonna do like a basic one, okay? Just to show you how easy it is. You're gonna go next. It's gonna ask you basic information, so I'm just gonna put a random birthday. What did this? Year 3. You can put whatever you want, and then you're gonna put next, and then you can make up whatever email you want, but you're gonna actually use your child's email that they have from the district here. I'm just gonna add one for teaching purposes right now. Go to next. So it's telling me this one's available. So I'm just gonna use the one that they're telling me it's available for right now. And then a password. Okay. And then it'll tell you to link it up to a number. And then it's going to send me a code on my phone to enter. Let me show you that real quick. And so now this is the new account you've added. You would obviously put your child's email that they gave into the school, and now it's linked up to yours. So when I go back over here to all my accounts, it would show here. I obviously have way too many, so it's not showing on there, but it would show on there. And then let's see if we go.
I think it had asked to continue, Bianca, on the other one.
On the other one?
Yeah, on when you were creating it.
Oh, okay. So we're just going to use my daughter's for now because hers is showing, since I want to show you guys how you get to their Google Classroom through there. Okay, so this is her Gmail, and you can see that her teacher has added different not sure why it's not showing. You can go to her Google her assignments that are here. And it'll take you straight to their Google Classroom and all of their assignments. But I think it's her old account that is showing.
Bianca, this is Ashley. I just wanted to interject for a moment and explain the reasoning behind adding this to your waffle or to your preset email addresses is because so often with Google will take over whatever you're working on. So if you're trying to access a Google Doc or a Clever account, you won't be able to access that unless you are properly logged into your child's account. And by making a profile of its own, you're able to separate your Google account, if you have one, from your child's. And if you have multiple kids, it gets even more confusing because you have multiple passwords to contend with. So doing this step will make your life easier. It might seem a little tricky watching this, but I promise you it's a good and helpful tool to have in your kit as a parent. Go ahead, Bianca.
Thank you. So actually I'm on my son's account because I think my daughter logged in, so it's not letting me log in right now. But this is his classroom, and I can go on his, and it has his Google Classroom through here. And it has all of their assignments that their teachers assign them. And you can actually check if they completed it because it'll show like a little check mark right here once it's complete. You can even send them messages on to the teachers through there. So that's how you link your child to your Google. Now I'm going to show you how to go to Clever.
Bianca, before you move over to Clever, I think we have a question that might be good to answer now.
Okay.
The parent asked, in Google Classroom, everything's in Spanish, and she understands that because her children are in a Spanish program, but they're all native English speakers, and asked if the teachers are going to ever provide paper packets again. I was thinking some teachers provide both English and Spanish, so it might be a matter of just asking the teacher. But Senora Thetford or Esther, do either of you have anything to add about how teachers provide the content? We can see on Bianca's right now, it's all in Spanish. I know our teacher did English and Spanish, like kinder first. By second or third, I think they assume the kids can read it. But if you have any feedback on that, that would be good.
Teachers in the upper grade, you're right, in the lower grade, in kinder, first, second grade, the teachers do provide it in both languages. That way the parents are supporting the students, plus the students cannot read everything yet. So therefore it's provided in both languages. As the students get up in the upper grades, like third through fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, and then of course middle school and high school, the information or all the assignments are in Spanish. The teachers are assuming that the students have a good handle of how to use a Google Classroom. They've had them for several years. They can read the content and the materials, and that they don't need that much support from the parents. And actually, the teachers are really training the students to be independent as much as possible, especially as they're getting into fifth and sixth grade, because once they get into middle school, they're not only going to have one Google Classroom, but they're going to have from 5 to 7 Google Classroom classes, because they will have one Google Classroom per teacher, per subject as they enter middle school, and the same as high school. So per se, the students, some of the teachers I've heard, the way they make they tell me that the students are in training as they're transitioning from elementary to middle school, and then from middle school to high school. But if at any time you feel that you need some of the information in English, please contact your teacher, and your teachers can make arrangements of any portion that you might need access in English.
And I would add the same for the second part of the question, which was, you're not seeing the modules showing as completed on the teacher side. That's definitely something to talk to the teacher about. So some teachers use Google Classroom more than others. So I think if your teacher's not updating there, you've just got to talk to the teacher directly and either ask them to update or ask what they're using to keep track of that information.
Right. My son has 2 teachers for 6th grade. So she actually has her own Google Classroom here, you can see, and all of her stuff is actually in English. So at Jefferson, they still do the 2 teachers, they switch during the day still. I know all the schools are different. I think it's based upon how the schools want to work the DLI program. But at Jefferson, they still have 2 teachers and they still switch between the both classes. So there is a separate Google Classroom for each teacher.
And you are correct. So just like the student has 2 Google Classrooms in 6th grade, because he does have the teacher who's teaching in Spanish with the content in Spanish, and then the teacher in English who's teaching the content in English. There are some teachers that are teaching self-contained because there's only one class in that particular grade level. So therefore the students will only have one Google Classroom. And it's up to the teacher, to decide if she's going to format it in English and or Spanish. But if you have any questions or any concerns, please contact your teacher. She should be able to assist you.
Okay. Now I'm going to jump to Clever. So I'm going to go to Google again. I wrote Clever RUSD because there's several Clevers on RUSD that have the same, and it'll show you the different ones that there is. So there's Redlands, Roland Heights. Right here is Riverside Unified School District. And as you see here, it says Riverside School District. And it says login with Riverside Unified Org account. And it'll tell you which account, since I have both kids, it shows them both of their emails, and you just choose the one that you're trying to check in on. We'll use my son, and it logs right into Clever. And from here, you can also access the Google Classroom. It's going to show me that I need to join the class. But because I've already linked my Gmail account to their Gmail account, I just say I want to use his. And it will show exactly the same thing that I showed you earlier. So that linking gives you like a doorway into their Google Classroom that way on Clever. I'm going to go back to... Okay, so now we're back on Clever. And this is where you can go to McGraw-Hill. And you have access to all of their use, well, what they use in class. And they have their login, and so you can go to Maravillas, which is McGraw-Hill in Spanish, or Wonders. Let's go back. They have Dreambox if they use Dreambox. My son uses, they used to use Dreambox, but this year they are using Khan Academy. So they have Khan Academy on here as well. If you put hearts on any of these apps, they go to the top, and it has all their most used apps. So it's actually easier for them to navigate instead of having to look through all of these apps and resources they have. They have the Remind app is on here as well.
Bianca, will you please point out these Spanish language apps while you're on that part of your screen?
Sure. Which one would you like me to go on?
Brain Pop, ELL.
Oh yeah, Brain Pop is a good one that my kids like a lot.
And just really pointing out that those are the apps that kids can be using at home for homework time, for Spanish homework time. I know some of them are also in English, but that's where you access those. So if your child wants to use those things and doesn't have access to a computer from school, I know some of the younger grades aren't being allowed to take them home, like first grade at Washington, but you can put them on your computer by logging into their Clever account and you have access.
Yeah, this one's really cool. It has like different subjects, and it has really cool little short videos that maybe they're doing social studies or science, and they actually I think on a daily they have like different videos, and you can actually, if you don't want to watch that video, you can actually go and explore and do all kinds of other videos. Let's see, we'll do climate change, and then you can kind of pick droughts, and you can watch the movie. It has really cool quizzes after you can.
And Bianca, it looks like this one's not in Spanish. I might have chosen it by mistake. I was hoping to find one of the Spanish apps that's full immersive Spanish language.
Let me go back. Brain Pop in Español. So right here we have technology.
In order to have access to Brain Pop in Spanish, it would need to say Brain Pop Español.
Yeah.
And your videos and then the content will be in Spanish. The regular Brain Pop is in English, and the Brain Pop Junior is in English. So Junior is usually for K1, maybe second grade, and the regular Brain Pop would be from third through sixth grade. And then Brain Pop en Español will be for kinder through sixth grade or higher, even middle school as well.
So I'm just going to show you a quick example.
¿Cómo pudo pasar eso? Queridos de mi móvil, sé que el núcleo de un átomo está hecho de protones y neutrones. ¿Pero de qué están hechas esas cosas? Sinceramente, Jacinta, qué buena pregunta. Los físicos solían creer que esas partículas eran elementales. Eso significa que no pueden dividirse en algo más. En teoría, una partícula elemental es lo más pequeño a lo que puede llegar la materia. Los primeros científicos pensaban que elementos como el oro y el oxígeno eran elementales. Luego vino un químico llamado John Dalton.
Okay, and then this is a quick quiz at the end of it once you finish watching it. I'm sure it'd be cool too because you can make sure that they understood it. My daughter's class, they usually will assign them a certain brain pop and ask them questions and make sure they did it. So they have to answer all the questions correctly. Depends on the teacher and what they want to focus on. It even has the vocabulary on what was discussed during the video. So they liked, I know she likes that one. She also likes Block It, which it's like a quiz that they do at the classroom. And Kahoot is another one she likes to use as well. But there's a lot of really great apps on here that if your kids are in downtime and you feel like they need some more practice, I would definitely have them play around with a lot of the apps on here because they're actually really useful and you don't have to go searching for them and they're already permitted by RUSD. But yeah, she used a lot of this during COVID. It really helped them a lot during COVID because if they were already bored with all the stuff they learned, they could move ahead and do stuff on their own.
Bianca, we have a Spanish question in the chat. It says, no puedo acceder a Brain Pop. Me pide un username y lo hice desde Clever. Maybe a question for Patricia, why it's not letting her log in.
If the student is having difficulty accessing Brain Pop, let the student tell the teacher. That way the teacher can put a work order for that student and they can look and see what is causing them not to have access, because all students should have access to Brain Pop.
Yeah, the other issue can be that the student does not remember their password.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they don't remember their passwords, they're not going to be able to access any of these. So all of the students have a username and a password. So they need to remember their passwords, and the teachers can give them that information. Teachers have all of the passwords for all of the students. So so parents, if you can't access this because your child can't access it, let them know that the teachers can give them that information.
Even if they're signed into Clever, Esther, it's like you have to sign in twice.
No, you don't have to sign in twice. If you're already signed into Clever, you should automatically have access to all of the apps here in Clever. But maybe the parent can check, is the parent signed in as themselves, or is it under the child's name? If it's under the child's name, the child should not have any problem accessing any of this. If they are having problems, then it's like Ms. Thetford said, the teacher will have to submit a work order so they can fix the child's Clever. But the person authorized to access all of these apps is the person who needs to be assigned to Clever. Signed into Clever, sorry, signed into Clever.
And it's usually the student who should be assigned to Clever and not the parent.
Right.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, Bianca, we've got like a little bit of time left. I just wanted to bring that up because I know we have a few more slides, but is there anything else specific you want to show, or maybe we
no,
wrap it up?
I'm pretty much done. I kind of just wanted to show them that there's a lot of really cool apps they can kind of play around with it. If their kids will tell them what apps they use the most in class, and they'll know how to navigate through it. But Imagen was one that my daughter used a lot, Lexia. But I would definitely let them show you guys, and then you guys can get familiar as far as what apps you want to check in on and what ones you guys would like your kids to use. But I'm done. If anybody else
can you stay on the page? I know there was a question that said, which of these apps have the students have access to Spanish resources? One of the resources is McGraw-Hill. So if you can point to McGraw-Hill, just don't go into it, just point to it. That is through Maravillas. If your child is in kinder through 6th grade, they'll have access to Maravillas. You'll have all the resources there for language, for reading, for writing. They have their dashboard, the student dashboard in Spanish. Another app that is in Spanish is Learning A through Z, the little robot. Learning A through Z. This is where the teacher assigns stories in Spanish. You can go in there and they have many books in Spanish that the students can read for homework or just free time. Another Spanish app would be, of course, BrainPop Español, if it's available to the student. Another app, I'm just trying to think of.
Is RasKids on here, Patricia?
RasKids is Learning A through Z.
Okay.
So all of our students, kinder through 6th grade, have access to Learning A through Z. Sometimes, mostly all the teachers call it RasKids. RasKids is within Learning A through Z, but when you open it, they'll have access to RasKids and RasKids Plus. So they have several resources in Spanish that is available to all students.
Patricia, it is still on a time limit, because I remember before it used to be like, I think it was like 3:30. You didn't have access to the books. I don't know if that has changed since then. But before it used to only let you read books up until like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, well, that's interesting because I've never heard of that. You shouldn't have a time limitation. But if you have any problems with time limitations, let your teachers know so they can notify us, because students should have access to the books at any time.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know Imagen was one that they used a lot that was in Spanish. It was like Spanish math. I know Lexia was another one that they used for Spanish. Renaissance is actually where they do the AR testing. So if your kids are reading books for points, that's where they would test. I believe they also have free books on Renaissance that you can read. Trying to think what other ones they use.
We have a couple comments in the chat. They're asking if ABC Mouse is a school app.
Not for DLI, it is
Not
not.
for DLI, okay.
We do not have ABC Mouse. And students do not have access to that.
Okay, thank you. Also, we have a recommendation that Footsteps to Brilliance is a great bilingual app. As well as I heard there is tutoring available to students. How can I request that for my kindergartner?
Yes, and Step Up to Brilliance should be on Clever.
Mhm.
And I believe the one that had the time limitation is Epic, according to Vanessa Lopez. It stops at 3 p.m.
But learning A through Z should not have a limitation of time.
Okay.
Mhm.
Would you like me to stop sharing this screen?
Yeah, and let's go back to, I think we have a few more slides, and we've had a couple of random questions that don't necessarily have to do with the apps and the Clever. A few people asking about tutoring again. I think we get the tutoring question on every meeting. So maybe a really quick update on the tutoring. I mean, I'll tell what I know. It's a very limited program, but there is the paper app for upper grade secondary school students. So anyway, Senor Thetford, do you want to comment on the tutoring really quick?
Sure. We're in the process of starting our tutoring program through our Tutor High School tutoring program with our high school students. Right now, I know that we just returned from winter break, so we have sent a refresher email to remind students that we're going to get started. Our hope was to start January 13th, and based on the data that we received from Fastbridge, the most need right now is at 3rd grade. For session 1, we're going to begin at 3rd grade. For those students that are in kinder and first, if you need tutoring, look at your school and ask if they have the Hearts program, where there might be tutoring available after school for your student. If you would like your student to participate in some kind of tutoring or after school program to assist them with homework. But in regards to the DLI high school tutoring, we're going to begin in 3rd grade. And then we're going to be inviting parents at that level to sign up. And then based on the availability of high school tutors and teachers, that's the number of students that we will service. Any other questions?
Looks like we have another one stating just more interest in tutoring overall. And one person saying their child has been, or children have been on a wait list for Hearts since day 1 of school. And I will agree, another comment saying it's hard to get into Hearts. How can we help families that don't have access to Hearts that still need the tutoring? Are there other resources out there?
Unfortunately, right now, we do not have any other resources other than our, the Hearts After School program and our own DLI tutoring program that we are going to kick off this month, that I know of. However, I'm not going to say we don't have anything completely. I will have to check with Mrs. Castro, Jerry Castro. She did present to us earlier this school year on Hearts. And I can work with her to see what the situation is and to see if more students can be accepted at her sites.
And I know that Esther occasionally mentions that there's Duolingo that is available for free. It's a free app that your students can practice Spanish through the app Duolingo, where students are learning, how to say phrases and how to say sentences and how to say words. So if you are interested in something immediately right now, without waiting, then you can download that app, Duolingo, and then you select Spanish, and then it caters to your student. They ask them certain questions, and then it places your student at a certain level, and then they start the student at that particular level. So that is available as well.
Thank you, Patricia. We do have another comment here from Amy Valdez stating that she is in Hearts, her child is in Hearts, and they're not allowing them to do homework, let alone tutoring. And I have to say, Jerry Castro did come on and speak with us, and she is a huge supporter of the program that she organizes. I would contact her, would contact the Hearts number, because that's not how they run things. They absolutely do homework, and tutoring is part of that. So it sounds like maybe a site-specific issue. Esther, Patricia, do you have anything to add?
No, you're absolutely right, Ashley. Please feel free to email Mrs. Castro, and she will look into the matter, because Hearts homework support, not necessarily completion, but homework support and tutoring are part of the Hearts program.
Okay, there's another comment here stating that their child has had a substitute in kindergarten since October, very worried about her progress.
For that, I am very sorry. We have very little say into matters of substitute or the length. That's something that you would have to bring up with the principal. If you're not working it out with the principal, then email me and I'll let you know who to talk to next. But you have to understand that we do not control the length of a teacher's leave. We just do not control that, especially if they're ill and they're ill for multiple months and they can't come back to work. They do have the right to have a substitute teacher in there, not a permanent teacher.
And I know that not only, the school site supports the substitute teacher, but I know that the principal usually reaches out to Esther and I to continue giving support, and we're doing that as well.
We have quite a few more questions that have popped in. Jumping subjects right now. NS writes, I filled out the form to start our kindergarten son to DLI. I forgot when in February do we find out if we have been approved? And I know that's further down in the slide deck, right? If we can get to it.
That's actually the slide out. Can you guys see what I'm sharing right now?
We can.
Okay, that was going to be this next slide.
Okay.
That acceptance notices for the 23-24 school year will be mailed the week of January 30th. They are always mailed the last week of January. I was hoping that I didn't go this far this year, but unfortunately I'm stuck in jury duty and I have not been at work for 2 weeks. And so a lot of my work basically has stopped. I mean, I'm sincerely trying to keep up with the work after jury duty, but it's been quite hard. That's not an excuse. I am getting many items done, and one of the things that we will get done in mail notices by January 30th. If your child is accepted, you will get a notice. If your child is not accepted, you will get a notice saying your child was not accepted.
And Esther, we do have a few questions here asking for Jerry Castro's contact information. Do either of you have that at hand? We can throw in the chat. And Esther, I don't know that we put your email address in the chat either.
Yes, my email is at the end of the slides right now, but you can add it. I can't add it while I'm presenting, unfortunately. So please feel free to add it, any of you, to the chat box. And Patricia, can I ask you to add Jerry Castro's email on there too?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yes, I'm going to move on. Yes, we are going to send the notices to all of the parents the week of January 30th. We do have a lot of the process already completed. I just have to activate the lottery, send all of the names to the lottery. Remember, parents, it is an outside lottery. It's a consultant. They do not work for RUSD, so that we can make the process as fair as possible. But we do have to send all the names to the lottery system. Once we get that information back, we will start getting all of the letters ready and mailed out to all of the parents. When it comes to application, the fall 23-22 is already closed. It's no longer available. However, the second, I did not add the new dates here. I'm very sorry. But the second application, we do have a second application that will open up in the first week of February. So I believe that will be 4, 5, 6, February 6th. We do open up the second application, the after window DLI application, so that you can apply. If you missed the opportunity to apply, you can apply. And this list will put you on the wait list. We usually accept more children between May and August. So do not miss out this application, and it is open for a longer period of time. The important dates to please put on your calendar are January 16th. It is Martin Luther King Day, and there will be no school on Monday, January 16th. January 30th through February 3rd, we will send out acceptance notices. And like I just mentioned, our after window DLI application to create wait lists will open up on February 6th. And it will close June 30th, right before the beginning of the new school year. Okay,
I'm going to take over here. Allison had to leave to her next commitment. It's Ashley speaking. Before I just check the final chat comments, I wanted to point out our next meeting dates. We only have 3 left for the 2023 school year. That's February 8th, March 8th, and April 12th. It's always the second Wednesday of each month at 5:30, and it will stay online. And of course, more of what I just said. The meeting code and the passcode also don't change. So if you have those saved somewhere, you can plug those in pretty easily. And then our final slide, if you need Esther's contact information, it is listed here. My email address is also listed there. It's my personal email. Should anything not have been answered tonight and you want to reach out, please feel free to do so. We made this group so that we could help everybody along in the process. That is DLI, which is kinder through 12th grade. It's a journey, and sometimes we all need help figuring out where to go next or what resource we're missing. If you want access to old recordings or old slide decks like you're seeing tonight, go to our Somos website. It's down at the bottom there. It's a Google site. We list that quite frequently also on our Facebook page, which is listed there as well. I hope you've all had a nice evening, and we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much to members of our group, and welcome, Bianca. I'm going to check our chat just before we sign off here. Where can we find the meeting recordings? Hopefully I answered that for you, Melissa. Our RUSD Google page, sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Our Google site for Somos DLI. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you so much. The meeting up. Yeah.
Okay, it's still
Maybe
going.
I'll try to find a link to our Google site.
Do you want me to take down the rest of the questions that we didn't get answered, or you just?
Sure, we can. They were mostly on tutoring and access to resources and access to hearts.
I know there's one of the parents that added the Riverside Public Library tutoring programs, and she added that link. So you might want to take that link and that information and place it in either your Facebook or the Google site for parents who are still maybe seeking tutoring availability. We didn't see that.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I'll copy it, and I'll if you guys could just leave it up so that I could copy and put it in a Facebook really quick.
I know that one of the questions that a parent that we were able to answer is that, with struggling students, there's a parent who has a kinder and third graders, and a parent wants to pull them out of the program. and place them in English only. I know that it's still so close to the school year, especially in kinder. It's very normal for students to still be struggling. We got to see that they've only been in school September, October, November, December for 4 months. And in third grade, they're struggling because they're making that transition from English to Spanish. So maybe it's something that we might want to consider addressing. And why is it so difficult for those students in those 2 grade levels? So we didn't see that question, but those are some of the factors why kinder and third grade, it makes it difficult for them. One, because it's the first year, and the first few months they're learning so much, but then in third grade also they're making that transition from Spanish into English, and they're learning how to read in English, and it seems like they get behind, but in actuality, they're picking up on that second language and becoming biliterate in that second language. So they're making that transition.
Sorry for glossing over that comment. I saw it and then got confused where we were. Oh, there's another one. Sherry writes, thank you. I'm really trying to support them so they can stay in DLI, but my husband is a teacher and thinks we are causing learning loss. I can say as a parent, I have a 1st grader and a 5th grader in DLI, and we've seen the waves that they go through, and it absolutely is a stay the course, and they will come through on the other side. And also reach out to your teacher, because they probably know best if your student is actually struggling, or if it is just the struggle, like Senora Thetford was saying about those 2 grades.
And just remember, they're going through a language acquisition. They're learning a language, and sometimes we want them to start talking. We want them to start reading and writing, like they have, and it's only been a few weeks that they've been in DLI, especially in kinder. In kinder, there's so much growth that is happening. So it's being patient and allowing them, sometimes they go through that silent period. And for some students, it's longer than others, but giving them that opportunity to acquire that new language. They're listening, they're using it in class, they're singing, they're reading, even though it seems like they're not doing anything and they're not learning anything. They're quite learning quite a bit in kinder. But yes, Ashley is right. Talk to your teacher, see how else you can support, and see, what the teacher is doing in the classroom to support your child or children at this point.
Have a good night, Sherry. Thank you. I think that's it for questions. I think we can safely end our meeting. Thank you guys for staying after. Just